Do you remember how like every team it seemed like made the postseason last year in the COVID shortened season? Well, the Boston Red Sox, who are in the ALCS, and the San Francisco Giants, who are a game away from the NLCS, neither of those teams made the postseason last year, despite almost everybody making it. And you know what? They weren't that great in 2019 either, yet here we are. Two of the best teams in baseball, two of the five teams remaining at this point as I'm recording this on Wednesday. No postseason games today. So I figured I'd shoot a video. But, just taking a look here are the 2020 MLB standings. The Red Sox not only missed the playoffs, they were worse than the Orioles last year by a game, but worse than the Orioles. Oh, just awful. 24-36 was their record. They're in the ALCS. Again, pretty incredible turnaround for them. And then the Giants, 29-31, they missed the postseason as well last year, finishing third in that division with a record under 500. The last year was weird with the 60-game season. Let's take a quick look back to 2019. And again, the standings for 2019, it's not like these were sort of juggernaut teams that had a fall off in that weird season, and then now we're back on top again. I think we kind of think of these teams that way because they have so much World Series success recently. But in 2019, the Boston Red Sox were just kind of meh, 84-78, a winning record, but well back of the division lead. Not even really close to a wild card spot at all either. And then the Giants had a losing record. They were 77-85. So how did these two teams elevate themselves from not only a bad 2020, but also pretty underwhelming results in 2019? The thing that gets me excited as a Twins fan is that it wasn't really from a big offseason, a big spending offseason, gigantic trades and that stuff. Let's take a look. All right, so here we are at the MLB Trade Rumors offseason free agent tracker from last year, and we've got just the Red Sox pulled up, and here were their biggest investments that they made this winter. That's it. Nothing. The guy they spent the most total money on was $14 million. That was Kike Hernandez. A great pickup for them, but not one of the top free agents this winter. Not a guy who needed gigantic. $7 million. For an established guy like that is not a ton of money. And then their big pitching addition was Garrett Richards for $10 million. That's a lot, but for a starting pitcher for 1 year contract, that's not really significant. And, they made some other additions. Hunter Renfroe worked out really well. A very modest deal for him. They have multiple years of team control on him as well. Despite that being a 1 year contract, he has arbitration eligibility. So that was a very slick pickup by them. But as you can see, they're not anything massive. They made some other moves we'll take a look at, but in free agency and just raw spending money, that was it. And now here, taking a look at the Giants, similarly, they had a little bit more spending overall. Bringing back Kevin Gausman on the qualifying offer, that's a hefty salary, but for a starting pitcher, again, not that crazy. And obviously he was worth it prior to in 2020, and he's worth it this year. So a nice move by them. Tommy La Stella, obviously a big overall investment, but only $6.25 million annual average value. And then Anthony DeSclafani, a very nice pickup, well worth $6 million. He outperformed many starting pitchers on the free agent market. And then Jake McGee, who turned out to be their closer up until he got injured at the end of the year. Again, another really great signing for not a lot, a 2-year, $5 million amount. Just crazy. Some of these values that these teams picked up. And back at Baseball Reference, a lot of these guys that sort of carried these teams, were guys that have been around for years, and they just put together better seasons than they'd had. Nathan Eovaldi, he's been kind of up and down. He was pretty good last year, but good again this year, poor in 2019. JD Martinez has kind of been a bit inconsistent. He was back at it. They picked up Garrett Whitlock in the Rule 5 draft. They even had, Verdugo wasn't even as good this year as last year. So even, it's not like this, everything went right. Tanner Houck, very nice breakout for that internal guy that they had breakout, a younger guy. And the Giants, especially, tons of familiar faces. A lot of these guys have been in this organization forever. Brandon Crawford, we already talked about Gausman. Logan Webb was their big breakout. He was a starter for them last year, struggled, really broke out this year. Amazing season. Again, DeSclafani. Buster Posey, he sat out the COVID year, future Hall of Fame player coming back. That was a huge impact for them to get them going. Brandon Belt, another guy who's been around forever. Mike Yastrzemski had a nice year. He actually had a worse year this year than last year. Again, another guy with that going on. There's a lot of guys in it. Lamont Wade is kind of another guy in this, near this top 12. And that's the thing. Twins fans were going to think of Lamont Wade, but yeah, he's not even cracking this. He only had 381 plate appearances. Yes, that trade worked out. That was just another sort of savvy move on their part, but he wasn't even on the opening day roster, remember? So it's not like even the Giants realized what they had in Lamont Wade at that time of the trade. And yes, both of these teams have much bigger payrolls than the Minnesota Twins, but with the Giants in particular, look at how the payroll was spent, and 107 win team. Obviously they haven't punched their ticket to the NLCS yet, unlike Boston. But no matter what happens, 107 wins, West Championship, pushing the Dodgers to 5 games in the series. Can't take anything away from them, no matter what happens from here. But Johnny Cueto, who had a nice comeback year, is one of their highest paid players, over $21 million salary. That didn't really hurt them. Evan Longoria, only played about a half a season. Brandon Belt played a little more than a half a season. But my point here is that, yes, their payroll is much higher, but it's not like they got a lot out of that spend. It's not like that's the reason why the Giants won 107 games, is because they had their payroll. It was a lot of the guys down in these ranges and even the pre-arb guys who they plucked out and played so well for them. So, when you look at their roster, like, obviously there is a great depth and great talent. You don't win 107 games without that. But also, like, just what it took to acquire some of these guys, you just see, and it's like you could envision, a team like the Twins managing to pull something like this off if a bunch of the right moves are made. So that's why I've enjoyed. You can say some of these same things about the Astros, some of these same things about the Dodgers. It gets tougher. That's just like a super mega team. I have a hard time sort of relating to them as a Twins fan. It's easier with some of these other teams. There are some on the Braves as well. And it was pretty cool to watch the Braves totally rebuild their outfield at the trade deadline. That's just insane that a team would be able to do that and make its way to the NLCS and get over some of the things that they have. But I look at the Giants and the Red Sox and their past and how they got here, without, a Carlos Correa type free agent sign. It's not like they had to go nuts to get someone who's a superstar. It would be, don't get me wrong, I wish the Twins would do something like that. I think those guys are smart to get. Spending is good. I'm not optimistic that the Twins are going to be going that route after a poor season, after attendance being down. It would shock. I would love to see the payroll go up, but it would shock me if it did. So basically, I'm trying to find reasons to still be hopeful despite that. It was a bad team. It was an older team. But again, these Giants and Red Sox teams are pretty experienced as well. And coming off bad years without investing a ton more, they made it happen. So fingers crossed, we'll hope that with a great offseason, maybe an offseason as good, as bad as this last one was, maybe the Twins can pull out one that good. We'll see if we can get a bounce back. Thanks for checking this out. This has been Tom. Let me know, does that make any sense? Can you see that? If you kind of squint and use your imagination and put on your positivity hat, can you see that happening?